All right, so you understand what's going on in China. If you're watching this channel, you kind of have been watching this, whether it's from the mining aspect or maybe the digital yuan aspect. Well, we're going to dive into that today and answer the question, is the digital yuan and what China is doing going to affect more than just Bitcoin, now going to affect the altcoin market and the smart contract companies behind them? My name is Paul Barron. This is TechPath. Welcome back. Let's dive into this today because here's the issue. China, of course, has been moving for about the last 6 months very aggressively to create the digital yuan, which has essentially and will be essentially the first world's global electronic currency. And when you look at digital currencies in general and where some of the countries are moving, China is at the forefront in terms of how fast and how quickly they've been able to address it. I want to jump to this story from Decrypt, which, by the way, I still love the guys over at Decrypt. You guys are doing a great job on this. Digital yuan now has more than 20 million wallets. That's insane that this has already got 20 million wallets. Basically, Chinese central bank. China's central bank new progress report on its digital yuan confirms that, guess what? Smart contracts are a design feature. So here we go. This is the scenario that I've been talking about and looking at for a few months now. We actually did a digital yuan video. Make sure and check it out, because just search digital yuan, TechPath or Paul Barron Network, and you'll see the video there that will kind of help set this one up a little bit deeper. I will go into this a little bit, but Chinese central bank's digital currency is spreading. Mainly the big deal is they're moving very quickly. They are evolving the program essentially now to where it can be programmed with smart contracts. It will also respect, this one really got me, respect anonymity as the law permits it, as long as the law permits it. So this is going to be a scenario that I think is going to continue to play out in the local aspect of how the Chinese citizens are going to be able to utilize this. Now, the key, and how does this connect to cryptocurrency, and what could it do to the cryptocurrency markets, and who are involved in this? All of that's going to be painted out in this video. I want to jump back to this. The e-CNY, get used to that code or that call sign right there. That is the digital yuan system, which is going to collect less transaction information than traditional electronic payment systems. Now we're going back to all the old payment systems that run the world right now. It does not provide information to third parties or other government agencies unless stipulated otherwise in laws and regulations, the report said. The bank would set up a firewall, this is interesting to me, to protect the anonymity, block arbitrary information requests, and implement security protocols in place. Hence, they're going to have to start to create an infrastructure around blockchain. You've kicked the miners out. You've implemented a digital currency, and you're implementing smart contracts and blockchain companies to help support and basically run the infrastructure inside of China. This is a brilliant move. If I was running a country today, this would have been the route I would have took. It just absolutely puts them in the driver's seat for, one, their digital currency, two, the infrastructure in which you've got all these developers building out underneath this for blockchain to help advance your digital currency and the infrastructure that it's going to service. How does this come into playing into whether or not it's going to affect altcoins and some of these smart contract projects? I want to jump into this further. Crypto also poses potential risks. This is where China gets into the FUD factory. Also poses potential risk and financial security and social stability, the report said, especially global stablecoins. This is where they start to look at trying to take down the Tether stablecoin, the USDC, etc., because the digital yuan has to be able to basically compete against that stablecoin. In essence, it is the currency. Now, could you have a fiat currency-driven system? And that, I think, is going to be going the way of the US digital dollar at some point, which will still be a fiat-driven system. That's why I still believe that cryptocurrency is going to be the underlying mechanism. But if China is over here going, wait a minute, we want the whole game. We don't just want the fiat side of this. We want the whole game. That's where I think these potential of these stablecoins, as you can see, as they continue to report, their FUD on the stablecoins, which would have a massive effect on the cryptocurrency marketplaces if stablecoins were in any way challenged or created around in terms of these kinds of uncertainties. You look back here, PBOC, People's Republic of China, or the People's Bank of China, report comes out a week after the Fan Yifei, a deputy governor of the bank, said that Chinese authorities are quite worried about stablecoins and have taken some measures against them. So this is where it gets fun. I shouldn't say fun because this is bad. This is bad, but also it makes you just set up and go, what is going on? Where is the rest of the globe when it comes to creating strategies around that? I'll have to hand it to China right now. These guys are making money moves, and they are doing it in a big way. So you look at that, and then I want to go back to a story over here on CoinDesk, back from March. This is March. Inside China's effort to create a blockchain it can control. So the article that they just released, we just dropped into this one right here, Digital Yuan. Let me kind of just paint this for you on where this is going. Digital Yuan is now more than 20. So there's the test. It's in place. This is back in March saying, well, wait a minute, we're going to get this test under control, but we're also going to create a blockchain that essentially is going to be under our thumb and where this is going to go. Let me zoom in on this because this is where it gets interesting. BSN, I want you to remember this name, BSN, very important name in cryptocurrency, very important name in smart contracts and DeFi. This is a government-blessed framework being developed in China for blockchain developers like Algorand, Cardano, Polkadot, Solana, all these companies that could potentially go into China now through this route. The network can already support decentralized applications, dApps, or tools built on 15 public blockchains. Reddate, that's the company that owns BSN, claims that it's going to offer developers access to blockchains both inside and outside of China at a cheaper price. This fits into a larger pattern right here. China is wary of cryptocurrency, but has embraced the blockchain tech. This goes back to, remember, this is in March, so it's pre them kicking the miners out, pre them banning banks from utilizing transactions to go purchase cryptocurrency, and pre them launching the digital yuan. All this is happening in March and before. So this has been on the plate. Here's another piece. BSN, enterprise blockchain systems deployed in the cities of Guangzhou, Zhangzhou, Shenzhen, and the Hainan province, according to Reddate's International Business Development. This again was back in March. Moving on, BSN was founded by Chinese state-owned telecom giant China Mobile, UnionPay, and IT startup Reddate. So Reddate basically is the front person, and the Chinese state-owned entities essentially run this organization and potentially kind of control who and what is playing in this. Now I want to kind of show you some of the companies that are involved in this. Let's just jump to this highlight right here. The global service now includes 15 public blockchains. Plan to add 30 more later this year. Guess what? There's Ethereum, there's Tezos, there's Solana, Polkadot, and there's Algorand on this list. These are some of the number of top US-based and or US-organized companies that have moved into the DeFi space and now potentially have made their way into blockchain infrastructure for China. So why would developers use such a heavily controlled blockchain when there are decentralized options available? That's going to be your question, right? It comes down to cost. Basically, this is going to be a lot cheaper. BSN has basically made this so easy for them to implement blockchain tech in China, one of the biggest countries in the world, to essentially implement an infrastructure change. And here's the other thing that you have to be thinking about. And that is that China is moving at such a pace and speed that they are going to essentially overrun infrastructure, old school infrastructure, banking systems, healthcare, transportation, travel, data sets, big data, you name it, with blockchain. And if a blockchain allows smart contracts like Ethereum and many other chains that were created after Bitcoin, there's a possibility that people can get post content onto the network that might upset the Chinese government. This is going back to the whole scenario that why it must be controlled, why they went in and supported Reddate and the launch of BSN. So let's jump to the next piece in the puzzle. Here it is. China's BSN builder, Reddate, urges developers to look beyond cryptocurrency. You don't really need cryptocurrency. we'll make sure that the digital yuan is here for you. And here we go, somewhat in line with China's latest spat of warnings. Here's the CEO of Red Date basically saying he's advising blockchain companies to look beyond, go into this new multiple cloud-based one-stop shop type approach. And this company, BSN, is the one that basically is providing the service, blockchain as a service, and moving in this direction. So don't put 100% of your resources in public chains and cryptocurrencies. He said, just give a little bit of money and resources to the underlying tech and research, because we can do so much besides cryptocurrency. This goes back to their whole strategy. So just put the blocks together. China probably, 2 years ago, as they ramped up the plan for the yuan, implemented it in 2020, and now rolling it out in 2021 in prep for the Olympics, which will, of course, expose the digital yuan to the world. Infrastructure-wise, they're going to implement all these potential smart contract products, which could affect a lot of how these smart contract companies are being traded in terms of the open markets on the cryptocurrency side. So companies like Solana, Algorand, companies like Polkadot, Ethereum, all of this could either go one way or another for them, depending on how much China truly, when I say China, BSN and Red Date truly control and or monitor this blockchain utilization. So it's not really that anonymous at all. You've got a scenario now where you've got a major state, nation state, that essentially is saying, we want to control this. Imagine if the United States went to all of these developers, said, listen, we're going to implement blockchain across our country right now. It's going to control our banking system, our financial systems, our health systems, our transportation, all of those kind of things. Oh, but by the way, we want access to all that chain data, and it's going to be rolled in by others. We'll tell you if it's okay if you roll it, and we'll tell you it's okay if you use it in that application. That's essentially what China is doing. Now you layer in the fact that the digital yuan is on top of that. You have a strategy, a chess game that is playing out right now, Game of Thrones style, with China making a very fast move. I don't know if this country is catchable now in terms of developing the reserve currency for the globe, which it could be the digital yuan. They're already in, the infrastructure is being built in. BS is going to be a big part of this, and Red Date, and also this infrastructure of our own, many of the companies that are building out blockchain technology, moving into China to run the infrastructures there, and of course, doing it in a way where they've opened up basically their code and their back end. They would have to be able to give China this kind of control over the blockchain data itself to run within their government and their organization, and all the infrastructure planning that they are looking at to move blockchain into, because they're planning another 30 blockchains coming in to this system. So they're looking at every kind of use case scenario they can, much like what we've seen in all these alt projects that are, and DeFi projects that are mainly going in all these kinds of directions, whether it's content creation, DeFi, climate control, transportation, you name the category. And the potential here now for China to be this much further ahead is real. So this is going to be definitely something to watch. Here's the way I look at this, though. If you're an investor in any of these altcoins, of which I am, you have to pay special attention to what's happening in China right now. You used to think, no, China's getting out of the game. They're going to live in their own world, and that's going to be that. We don't have to worry about it. They've kicked out the miners. The rest of the globe can generate and build on the magnificent ability of Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space. The reality is these guys are playing 3D chess right now, and they're playing it with blockchain. Blockchain may be the gift to society, the gift to mankind in terms of an evolution in the next revelation of where the web and technology is moving. But if China is this far ahead, essentially the arms race is already, I just don't understand this. Why we, as the United States, we're obviously a US-based company, why we have not taken on this kind of aggressive movement and embraced this kind of scenario that essentially China has done in their own way. They've done it in the sense of saying, hey, we're going to kick all the miners out, bring everybody in, lure everybody in on the blockchain in terms of all these smart contract companies, all these DeFi companies, all these alt projects, bring them in. We need a back door, and there you go. Now you have the entire what is the largest country in the world utilizing blockchain at a big clip. This is kind of the scenario that we're going to continue to watch here on the show and on the network, and really dive a little bit deeper, because I feel like there are going to be some significant impacts, either positive or negative, is the question. That's really the thing that I want you to watch very closely. If you guys are out there and you're doing your own research, and I know you are, we get so many DMs, and thank you again for all the DMs and the connections. We just had XRP on because of you guys, because of our audience, our tribe here on TechPath. You helped connect the dots. Keep doing what you're doing, because this is where it all starts to remove the curtain from the veil of what's happening on a global stage because of people like you and what is happening around this network. So if you're listening to us over on the podcast, give us some stars. And of course, here on YouTube, subscribe to the show right now. This is going to be your gateway to understanding the innovation and tech that is moving our society to the next generation. And I'm talking about the under 20 crowd that essentially are going to be the architects of the future. This is a very important time because the groundwork is being laid. I was around when the internet was built. I was in that game right there when I worked with Microsoft. I was there at the evolution of social media. This and those things were child's play compared to what we're about to see. I'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.